Now, usually, I try to make videos that inspire you to travel or chase your dreams, and I'd much rather you watch those. But I do realize that a lot of times chasing your dreams end up becoming a business. So I thought I'd lend a helping hand, or two.
All right, so now we get to talk about another ratio, total asset turnover ratio. What exactly is it? And by now, we should be familiar with the thought process that leads us into making up definitions for ourselves, I should say. So, as business partners, we're sitting down together and we're going to talk about how productive everything we have is being at actually bringing us some money. And that is going to be our total asset turnover ratio. How good are we at taking everything we have right now and turning it into money that we're collecting? Okay. So before I go any further, I'm going to be a little picky. And this is one of those, being picky for no reason. Well, to me, it's a reason. Hopefully, you're able to start realizing that you're allowed to be flexible. You're allowed to have your own opinion when it comes to these ratios. So my point, and that's just my way of justifying the fact that I'm taking time out here instead of just giving you an example. But my whole point that I want to make here is that I prefer looking at my fixed asset turnover ratio over the total asset turnover ratio. Now, you don't have to agree, but at least it should get you thinking. What is your opinion? My whole qualm here is that, look, if we spend money on property, plant, and equipment, and we say we're going to be making some shoes. Of course, after spending money on property, plant, and equipment, we have to watch, okay, how good we are at actually collecting money as a result of making a whole bunch of stuff. But with our total asset turnover ratio, I feel like this is just so much that we're looking at. It encompasses so much. So we're going to be looking at our cash. We're going to be looking at our stocks, all the stocks we own. And of course, we could get some revenue from stocks because if those stocks issue dividends, we get to collect them and claim them as revenue. That's all well and good. But how about land? Land is a long-term investment, right? If we intend on expanding our factories and making more shoes, we're going to want to use the land that we have. But for right now, it's just there kind of, in a way, just appreciating the value we hope, or just kind of being docile and just waiting for us to decide what we want to do with it. So there's a lot of things that we can have as a company that may not really be for the sake of actually bringing in sales right away. And that's my whole issue. Well, not issue, but my concern with relying too much on what our total asset turnover ratios tells us. Okay, because it encompasses everything. Our supplies, for example, that's a current asset. So it's part of our total assets. What could supplies technically be? Pens, rulers. Are they really directly impacting my ability to bring in money from my customers? Because when I think sales, that's the chief indicator for me of sales. All right, I can bring in money in other ways, but how good am I at collecting money from my customers? Because that's something I can immediately affect, or that's something I hope that my company is good at, that I'm making people happy and they're giving me money, a lot of money. So cash, for example, okay, that's going to be part of your total assets, right? But in the same token, cash just gives me the ability to do whatever I want. If I want to pay off some bills, I can do that. If I want to buy something new to have it, I can do that. But is it really directly bringing in more customers, like my property, plant, and equipment? Because if I use that money and I say I want to expand my factory, then I better be collecting more money. I've decided that I want to use this cash to grow my factory. So I better be bringing in more money because that's what my factory that's what it's intended to do. Okay, that was my intent for purchasing a bigger factory because I wanted to collect more money. So I like a lot, and it's probably just because of my economics background, but I really, really like the fixed asset turnover ratio as opposed to the total asset turnover ratio because I feel like it just involves so much. Okay, I feel like it's a weighed down ratio. It's a little sluggish, but you can have a completely different opinion. But think about it, and hopefully you thinking about it allows you to remember and actually become a stronger business person because then we're able to make better decisions. We're able to put our heads together and look at things from different perspectives. Okay, so back to what I should have been doing from the very beginning as opposed to I guess having a vendetta on a ratio. Well, I see I threw out the wrong one. That's how much I dislike, well, not dislike, I'm being dramatic, but that's how much I prefer the fixed asset turnover ratio to the total asset turnover ratio. But I still have to fulfill my obligation to you and go over an example. So, what would you be looking for? Sales, you're going to find that in your income statement. And my favorite, because I'm lazy when it comes to math, which proves that anybody can do business or understand business, especially if you have a calculator with you. 100,000, because I don't want to use a calculator. So let's say that's the amount of sales that we collect. Let's say for a month, okay? So within a period of a month, we're able to collect $100,000 from our customers. Now, don't forget, we still have bills we have to pay off, okay? We have expenses that we have to pay to keep the show running. But for right now, let's keep it simple and say we're able to bring in $100,000. Total assets. Two examples, okay? And with this, I want to actually help you start realizing that the number itself doesn't matter. What matters is your fundamental understanding of the story that the ratio is trying to tell you. You get ratios already. Don't let anyone tell you don't understand ratios. You look at the words and you know exactly what you're looking at. Sales here, it looks like it's a big deal because it's our numerator. All right, so we're trying to see what our denominator, how our denominator is contributing to our numerator. Okay, so for everything that we have, how much money are we able to collect from customers? So we collected within a period of $100,000, and let's say we have $200,000, because a lot of the examples I've been giving you, they've made our company look very good, right? But start thinking a little bit here. What's the answer? Oh, I love this. I love this two numbers I picked. I just get to slash things out. So in ratio form, our story form, it's 1 to 2, right? And we haven't really seen a lot of examples where decimal, I'm actually going to write decimal out because it helps us see that it's a small number. So 1 to 2 is going to be 0.5. It's going to be half. And it may be a natural reflex to think, ooh, it's bad. It's small. It's not bigger than 1. We must do better. But really think about what's happening. For every single thing we have, we're bringing in $100,000 in a month. Businesses last, I guess, the lifetime of their owners, except if it's a corporation. If you're being technical, I like that. That means you're engaged. But so let's think about it. We're not going to be, until someone says you cannot pay your bills anymore. We only have $200,000 worth of stuff, and in a month we brought in $100,000. Let's say our expenses are completely through the roof, and we're able to keep 50% of the money we bring in, which is not completely through the roof. I am very dramatic right now, but yeah. So let's say we lose half of the money that we collect to our expenses. Technically, what that means is that if we collect $100,000 in 4 periods, four, we would have made back enough to double our company size in a sense of how much stuff we have. Why? Because if we're bringing in 100,000 one month, 100,000 second month, 100,000 the fourth month, you get the point. So I said in 4 months we'd be able to basically double the company, right? So this is 400,000. And I said it's 50% expenses, so times half. 50% expenses, that is going to mean that we're going to keep 50%. So that's going to be 200,000. Oh, let's just do 2 here. Do that. And so in 4 months, we get to double the size of the company if we wanted, or double the asset value of the company if we wanted. So don't get fooled that small numbers means bad. All right, don't get trapped. Actually, always ask yourself when you look at ratios, what story is this ratio really telling me? Total asset turnover ratio. For every $2 values I have, I'm able to collect $1 from my customers. And now, obviously, we would rather a company where in a period we collect that. Well, let's say within that same month, all right, we collected $100,000 from customers, and we only have $20,000 worth of stuff. Okay, but I mean, really. This is just a miracle company at this point. Well, it might not be. I don't know. There's probably some industry. I don't know. You think about it. I guess we're just focused on us right now in our shoe company. But all right. So what's this going to be telling us? All right, 5, 2, 1. Really, just 5 for consistency's sake. For every $1 value we have in a month, we're collecting $5. That's a dream. We're collecting $5 from our customers for every dollar value that we have. Okay, so yes, the bigger number in this ratio, in turnover ratios in general, the bigger the number, the better. But I don't get trapped thinking it's bad automatically because it's slow. Think really of the story that's being told. Think critically. You understand expenses, you understand taxes, you understand interest, you understand leverage. Start weaving everything together. All right, nothing is as simple as it looks. If someone just says, "Hey, I looked at this one ratio and I think the company's successful," you know enough now to put your foot down and say, "No, there's definitely more to the story." All right, but I guess apart from me being dramatic here, hopefully you're able to think for yourself. Which one do you prefer, the fixed asset turnover ratio or the total asset turnover ratio, and why? I feel like I just gave you homework, and that did not feel too bad.
Thank you so much for watching. Turning a dream into a reality usually ends up becoming your business. That is why we have the Helping Hands videos. Subscribe, like, and feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Fans of Kindness, our Facebook page, is also waiting for you. See you in the next video. Until then, be your best and never stop learning.